Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics, your source for all things politics, policy and governance. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Tonight, we focus on a significant breakthrough in the fight against banditry in northwest Nigeria. The recent military operation in Zamfara, Katsina and Sokoto states has led to the elimination of notorious bandit leader and 38 other terrorists, sparking renewed hope among local residents that an end to the terror in their communities may be in sight. The Nigerian Air Force confirmed Sububu's death as a result of a special forces operation under Operation Hadarin in Zamfara's Anka local government area. This success follows the military high command's recent relocation to the region, signaling a strong commitment to ending banditry in the northwest. For residents, this development brings much needed relief and hope that the security forces will maintain this momentum until peace is fully restored. So let's have a listen to what the residents in Katsina and Sokoto State had to say about the recent developments regarding security.
The presidential directives that the ministers or the minister and service chief will move to Sokoto has been long overdue. It would have been done much earlier than now. But alhamdulillah, our take before was that the government was playing with the security situation in the country. But when we talk about that, people were saying we are doing it because we are opposition. If you remember, there was a time somebody said we are politicizing the security situation in the country. But now we are vindicated. If a whole emir will be abducted, will be tortured, will be killed after I take a ransom, then I think much needs to be desired. And that's exactly what happened. It is now, if before it was the trodden masses, or now it's almost going to almost everybody, every sector, malams, academicians, politicians, whoever. So now that they started touching those who are in power, I think that was why the government was scared. Alhamdulillah, the directives that made service chief to move down to Sokoto State has shown Nigerians that yes, definitely, if government wants to end this insecurity, it can end it. Because if you look at what happened, just some few days they were able to kill Halilu Sabubu. And if you see this man, Tulji, came after, I think, other yesterday or for yesterday, talking about how to reconcile with the government and the rest of them. Because definitely a conventionally trained security agent cannot be compared with a locally trained person in the bush.
For them to move inside the bush, that one is a different perspective entirely. And from what we are hearing, the killing of this Kachanda Sububu or whatever his name is an achievement. And whether you like it or not, you must count that as an achievement. And we are praying. And there are many things, though unsubstantiated claims that they are making progress. If they are truly making progress, I think it is going to be good, not only to the Nigerian, to the people of Northwest, to the entire country, if the military will come out to show people the advancement of their troops and what they are achieving in respect of this conflict.
If you observe the situation in the affected states, it is pathetic, because farming, which is their vocation, is no longer feasible. We are in deep trouble. How are we going to survive? No light, no water, no security. Especially we that came from Sabon Birni, the neutralized bandit leader Halilu Sobugu has been terrorizing us. He blocked the road all the way from Goronyo. Now that he has been killed, we are happy and calling on the security operatives to sustain the temper, because even yesterday the bandits have killed people in Sabon Birni.
Some of the thoughts of stakeholders across Sokoto and Katsina State, given their own thoughts and feelings about the recent developments in the region, especially in light of that operation that led to the bandit leader known as Halilu Sububu's death, following what has been termed a successful operation by the Nigerian army. Now, let's link up with our correspondent who is standing by for us in Katsina to bring us some update with regards to security developments in Katsina. We have Abdullahi joining us on Daily Politics. Good evening to you, Abdullahi. Thank you so much for joining us. Clearly, this past week has been an eventful one. What more can you tell us about the state of communities that are usually at the receiving end of these bandits' attacks, especially their reaction from this stepped up operations by the Nigerian military?
Well, from various communities across the frontline, insecurity frontline local governments in Katsina State, about 11 of them, we have heard from so many people that yes, of course, they appreciate the directives given by the president for the security chiefs to relocate to Sokoto to secure the region. But within the last few days, they are yet to see a significant impact on improvement, or rather improvement in the security situation of the state. This is coming because there are still some pockets of attacks across the 11 local governments perceived to be insecurity frontline local governments in Katsina State. Even yesterday and 2 days ago, there were a series of attacks, especially along Sokoto, rather Gusau Funtua Road, about 5 times in a day. There was even an attack on Kankara Sheme Road. There were attacks in Kurifi, where a facility was attacked. And of course, there was attack in around Jibia, Basari axis. So people are yet to see a significant improvement despite the directives given by the president on security, rather military chiefs to relocate to Sokoto to secure the region. There is yet to be a lot to be done as far as this operation is concerned.
So it's business as usual as far as the insecurity in all these volatile areas. And what do the people make of the recent successes recorded by the military? Does it inspire confidence in some of these communities that perhaps some sort of solution is coming their way?
But of course, what they are saying is that if this presidential directive will be followed by a significant political will by the military leadership, I think they think it will be better. But what they are seeing is like if there's any operation going on in Sokoto, Zamfara axis, what we are seeing here in Katsina is like they are chasing the bandits towards Katsina because the scale of the frequency of attacks is increasing by the day over the last 2-3 days within the scope of this operation. So what they're saying is there should be a coordinated approach towards the fight against these bandits. Maybe if there is a push from Sokoto, from Zamfara, there should be a well-coordinated push from Katsina axis to make a coordinated fight against these bandits, not taking the fight from Sokoto, Zamfara, and leaving, rather exposing Katsina area or Katsina state to these bandits. Because even this morning, when I was speaking with the chairman of GBA local government, he confirmed to me that he has seen, or rather he has received several reports that the people are witnessing mass movements of people with herds of cattle suspected to be bandits from this Zamfara Sokoto axis. So there is need to be a coordinated attack. There is need to be this synergy and cooperation between security agencies, not military alone, so that the people, security agencies from Katsina should be engaged fully. At least the fight should be all-round fight, not only from Sokoto, Gusau, or rather Zamfara axis.
All right. So just so I understand you clearly, are you saying there's no significant improvement in terms of military deployment as well as operations in Katsina?
Not per se, because this morning when I was making some calls with people from Sabua, Faskari axis, they confirmed to me that they have witnessed some military presence around Dunguma Azu on Tandume Brenungwari Road, patrolling the area, and of course making establishing a military base around that Dunguma Azu area on Brenungwari Road. There was also this deployment of military at Mabai village, very close to Kankara town, the headquarters of Kankara local government, patrolling Kankara Sheme Road, which was for long inaccessible. Over the last few days, they confirmed to us that the road is now accessible. And of course, there is this establishment of military base somewhere around Damusa, Basari axis. But yet, the frequency of attacks by these bandits is increasing. Despite all these numerous efforts being put in place, despite all this deployment of this military personnel to these areas, the frequency of the attacks is increasing. Hardly a day passes without recording 5, 3, 4, or to 10 attacks in a day. So you see, from what we are seeing in this part of the country, in Katsina State, obviously the frequency of the attacks is increasing, unlike the previous weeks.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to leave it here for now. Abdullahi Ahmed, thank you so much for that update. At least it paints a picture of what is actually happening on the ground in Katsina. Thank you so much for that update. Abdullahi Ahmed, Trust TV's correspondent there, giving us feelers from Katsina State regarding the security situation in those volatile areas, Jibia, Faskari, and all the others that he mentioned, where the attacks have continued unabated despite the heightened military operations in northwest Nigeria, one of which led to the killing of a kingpin in the area, Halilu Sububu, alongside over 30 other members of his banditry gang. Well, let's double down on the conversation and dimension some of the issues raised there, especially focusing on the insecurity that has become quite endemic in northwest Nigeria. We have joining us virtually retired Major Yahaya Shinko and architect Kabiru Ibrahim. They will be joining us virtually and also via the phone. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the conversation. But before I bring in our panelists, let's also just segue to Sokoto State, where Yusho is standing by for us this evening. Yusho Adamu is the reporter with Daily Trust, just to also crisscross and understand the situation over there in Sokoto State. Yusho, good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics. Over the past 3 weeks, the unfortunate developments in Gobert led to the deployment of a significant force where the Minister of State for Defense, alongside the Chief of Defense Staff, accompanied troops to the front line to, send a clear message that the banditry should come to an end. And a couple of weeks after that, we saw what happened last week. Give me a sense of how the state is reacting to this renewed push by the Nigerian government.
Like you have rightly said, this development has been described as a welcome move by the federal government. Most of the residents I have spoken with, they express their happiness and confidence in government that this time around, the federal government, the Minister of Defense, and the Nigerian military have shown a kind of commitment in the fight against banditry. Because the killing of Halilu Sububu is a breakthrough in the crusade against banditry. You know, like you have said, Sububu is manning the area of Sabon Birni, Isa, and some part of Gada and Shinkapi. So he is being accused of abduction of the emir of Kabiru. So killing him is a success, not only to the Nigerian military, but to the community, because there was celebration. These people have prevented them from going to farm. They have roasted their animals. They have collected their money, because several millions of naira have been paid to these bandits for ransom to their loved ones. They have been abducted. So to wake up in the morning to hear that, yes, the supreme leader of these bandits was killed is a success. So they express their happiness and confidence that, yes, this time around, the federal government is serious about the fight against banditry.
Yeah. And
I have
you should
contacted.
Yeah, just to double down on that particular note of excitement, has that translated into minimal attacks, especially in Sokoto, over the past few weeks?
Well, we cannot say attacks, but because they have paid attention much to intelligence gathering instead of maybe attack, I can see. Because these bandits are always on the move from one point to another. So getting the right intelligence, how they, where they are moving to, where they are living, how they move, their numbers, their motorcycles, the type of weapons they are using, is greatly helping the military in this fight. Sububu, he left Sabon Birni to another point when he encountered the ambush led by the Nigerian military. You know, he is living in Sokoto, but he was killed in part of Zamfara while moving to another place. So this is how the operation is going on. They have deployed a number of soldiers to some areas where these bandits are frequently attacking, such as Zurmi, Omoriki, Shinkapi, and what have you. So whenever they are moving, the military are getting intelligence about their movement. So it's not to say they are attacking them frequently and what have you. No, they are rather gathering intelligence about their movement and weapon or number of their people in their entourage and what have you.
Right. Yushe, we're going to have to leave it here for now. Thank you so much for the update and providing context with regards to security developments in Sokoto. I appreciate you for joining Daily Politics. Let's bring in architect Ibrahim, who is standing by for us in Katsina State. Of course, he knows a great deal about the impact of insecurity in Katsina State as a large-scale farmer himself. Architect Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Appreciate you for joining us on Daily Politics. Let me just start by getting your take on the events of this past week vis-a-vis the bigger problem, which is the hydra-headed monster that is banditry in northwest Nigeria. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's a very welcome development. We've been agitating for an end to banditry and kidnapping. And even on that show, I believe I once mentioned that the best way is to go to areas where we have, like corn country, or cotton country or whatever, and then attack the bandits there, you know.
It appears we are struggling with the connectivity to architect Ibrahim, who is joining the conversation. Okay, I think we're going to have to work on that connection. But before we double down on the conversation, hang on, architect, just hang on for a moment as we work on the connection. Let's just play you a clip of the Chief of Defense Staff, General C.J. Musa, who was speaking to the squad that was responsible for that well-celebrated victory of the Nigerian army. This is what he had to say to the soldiers who were responsible for the killing of the bandit kingpin, Halidu Sububu. Have a look.
Yeah? Who are those ones that did the operation today? Okay, who are the soldiers with you? How many? Okay, all right, so that's good. So I'm giving you guys 1 million naira. Is that clear? You go and share to show you that we appreciate you.
The Chief of Defense Staff there giving the battalion or the troops responsible for that well-celebrated victory the sum of 1 million naira to show an appreciation from, of course, the Nigerian government, I suppose, for that well-celebrated feat. Let's bring in our guest from Kaduna, retired Major Yahaya Shinko, who is joining us via phone. Retired Major, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Appreciate you for joining us on Daily Politics. Let me just get your reaction to that particular video clip that we played there of the Chief of Defense Staff giving his men the sum of 1 million as a morale booster. A lot of people feel like it's not enough, given that these bandits already have a price tag on their heads. But what do you make of this feat?
Well, honestly speaking, what the boys have done is commendable, and I also appreciate the effort of the Chief of Defense Staff. He has shown at least appreciation and to boost their morale for what they have done. This is from his personal account that he made this donation or contribution of about 1 million naira for them to share. And I'm sure when you talk about the price tag on the heads of those bandits, that is for the government to say whether from the public amounts that will be expended to satisfy that tag price. This is personally from the Chief of the Staff, Chief of Defense Staff, in appreciations of what the troops have done. And equally, honestly speaking, if I have my way, I can equally contribute, no matter how small, to show them that there is Nigerians out there. This is an organized military that we expect they should be allowed to do their best. We are sure we have competent and zealous youth soldiers that are ready to do what they will be commanded to do by their commanders. Honestly speaking, what he has done is commendable.
Yeah. Major, and some people say that, listen, we are over-celebrating this particular development. Yes, it is a positive step in the right direction. However, we're not out of the woods yet, because there are many more like Halilu Sububu who are out there creating chaos, killing people, maiming people, intimidating people, and destroying the lives and livelihood of communities across northwest Nigeria. What do you say to that?
Well, I'm sure, yes, this is one of many of them, but at least being the kingpin and the one that have trained numerous of them to be in those bushes, I'm sure with this, some of them by now will have been weak. They don't have the morale to continue what they have been doing. Maybe it will take them some time. If this troop will continue pushing, I'm sure they will push to the extent that they will get those that are among leaders, somebody like Bello Tuji and others. This is just the beginning. We have been saying before now that if these soldiers are allowed to do their work, I'm sure they are competent to handle it. So this is just the beginning, and I'm sure it is not over celebrating. It is okay. No matter how, if you have shown your appreciation, if Nigerians have shown their appreciation on what they have done, I'm sure it will be more of the moral booster than you can tell.
Yeah. Just this past week also, Bello Turji has given some communities in Zamfara State a deadline with which they have to pay a certain levy or pay the price for it. And I suppose pay the price means their lives and their livelihood taken away from them if they don't pay. That was Wednesday last week. And all of this development has signposted the back and forth when it comes to trying to restore law and order across all of these volatile areas. Given the scale of the problem, do you think this approach by the Nigerian military alongside other security agencies is enough to turn the tide in favor of Nigerians?
Well, considering the fact that the operation of Bello Turji is within a particular enclave which is not to the military personnel, and even among the civil society, they are aware, and this is not the first time they have been given this type of notice and deadline for their levy. If they have not paid that, this thing will happen and what have you. But this time around, I'm sure with the military presence around that area, it seems like his own days are also counted. So by the time maybe he'll come out to get the levy from the people around that terrain or around that area, maybe that is where he'll be cut off by the military personnel. And I'm sure even as he makes that, after I send that his message to the public, I'm sure he will not be around that area by now. He may have gone somewhere else to make sure that he will not be detected.
Right. Okay. Let's bring back Architect Ibrahim to the conversation. I think the connection is much clearer now. Architect, let's have you, express your line of thought as you were alluding to a little earlier. Just complete your line of thought there. It appears that that connection is still a bit tricky to handle. But let's go back to Major who is standing by for us in Kaduna. There are a lot of people who say, listen, we've been here before, right? Whether it's with the Boko Haram insurgency or with other criminals who, see one of theirs taken down and they go into hiding or they go into hibernation until when they are certain that they can operate with impunity yet again. What are the chances that this is not a big enough signal to force other bandits and other groups operating within the area to lay down their arms and surrender?
I think this approach is entirely different from what we have experienced earlier or previously. In this case, the Chief of Defense Staff himself and other commanders, particularly the Chief of Army Staff, are up to the task. They are already out to make sure that what they have promised the citizens is achieved. And I'm sure they are receiving the cooperation from the civilian authority or the constituted authorities in doing that. And particularly around Sokoto and Zamfara, where when you talk about Northwest, the banditry issue is seriously persisting. We are sure with this achievement by now, all other kingpins such as Bello Turji will be on their heels. And I can assure you, even if they will resurface, it will take them a long while, because they are sure now the troops are everywhere scattered within the bushy areas to see if they can get them. And we are hoping also that the civilians around that terrain or around that area will cooperate with them so that they will achieve this in just a quick time.
Yeah, Major Shinko, a very good point there, but also Nigerians will counter and say, listen, the momentum sometimes is not guaranteed. We see these momentums build up only for it to die down in a couple of weeks, and only for it to be reawakened when something tragic as the developments in Gobir happen, before we see yet another push by the federal government to do the needful. But we're going to take a moment's break. When we come back, there's a lot more to unpack and to dimension regarding the push to end terrorism, banditry, and all forms of insecurity in Nigeria. Join us after the break for more on this conversation. Welcome back to the program. You're watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. We're talking about banditry in northwest Nigeria. The recent past couple of weeks has been more of the same. A lot more attacks reported, but one particular incident or one particular development has given people beyond the region cause to have hope and, of course, to think about the possibility of it coming to an end, because the Nigerian military has successfully put an end to the criminal activities of one of the bandit kingpins, Halilu Sububu, alongside some of his fighters, in what many say is a big success and sends the right message to the criminal underworld that, of course, the Nigerian military and the security agencies are up to the task of securing all of these volatile communities. We've been speaking to Major Yahaya Shinko, retired, who is joining the conversation via phone from Kaduna. We also have on the line architect Ibrahim, who is a large-scale farmer based in Katsina, trying to dimension some of these developments and what it means going forward, especially as the government tries to reassure the citizenry of adequate security of life and property. Major, let's talk about the issue that is momentum, because we've been here before, whether it's with the Boko Haram insurgency or with the recent spate of attacks by bandits across northwest, north central and other parts of the country, where because of certain events, what happened in Gobir this past month has pushed the federal government to deploy not just troops but also the leadership of the Nigerian army. We saw the Minister of State for Defense alongside the Chief of Defense Staff and some other high-ranking members of the Nigerian military head to Sokoto to bring an end to this development. And just a week after that, Sububu's killing happened. But people are less than satisfied with this, reactionary development. Do you think this is the right approach to go? Because strategically, people say there are so many gaps that need to be addressed if we're going to long-term solve the problem.
Well, no matter whatever plans of people are suggesting, let's assume this is just the beginning of it. And as far as I'm concerned, where you have organized armed forces and you give them all what they require or what they will demand from the government to do and discharge their responsibilities, I'm sure they will do it. Because the zeal is there, the youth have confidence in their commanders. And the only thing I'm sure that is becoming obstacle to their operations mostly is lack of sustenance. The federal government is like, it is not allowing these military personnel to do the activities in the way they will marshal it so that they will finish it in a quick time. If they will have what they want, and I'm sure with these commanders on the ground, the troops will be ready to do whatever. And let's assume that they have started now, let the federal government give them all what they want to sustain the tempo so that at the end of the day, within a short period of time, they will achieve their target.
We earlier on talked about the scale of the problem, and as a retired military man yourself, do you think this is too much for the Nigerian military alone to handle?
It's not too much. And we should also remember, ideally, this operation, the Nigerian military, particularly the Nigerian army, is out to assist the civil authority. The responsibility is supposed to be of the police and the DFS. But for the purpose of the fire, the type of firearms these bandits are carrying, which the police cannot curtail, I think that's why they invited the military to join hands with them to do what they could to make sure they end the battle well. And with this, I'm sure the military is doing its best. And nobody is even talking about the other arms or the other services that are supposed to be part of it or to do it even before the military have come in. So I'm sure the military is doing its best.
Major, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay. I wanted to ask the question. We talk about how banditry has become a hydra-headed monster in northern Nigeria. What are the chances that there is a young, more deadly commander waiting in the wings to take over from Halilu Sububu, and he would have to make his own mark? I mean, so many of these bandit kingpins have been killed in the past before. But, you take one out and then two more come up in a matter of weeks. So the problems keep multiplying, don't they?
Yes, it's usually this type of operation, because in some cases they used to change their position. If, as for example, as I said earlier, Bello Turji could be somewhere around Zamfara with his troops, but seeing how the military have been serious with their operation, he may decide now to go low, to leave that terrain for some time, until when he understands that maybe they are approaching another area, then will come out through this place. That's why this type of operation is sometimes very difficult. It is not so easy, most especially that when they understand the military is approaching, they will abandon that place, and particularly that it's not at all times that they are wearing uniform. They will disguise in mufti, particularly that they are not military personnel. It's not a conventional war where the military will be face-to-face with an enemy. This is a very difficult task. That is why at times it is giving the military very difficult activity, very difficult operation. And another thing is that the terrain, in most of the cases, is not as smooth as the military will expect it to be. But these bandits are very conversant with it, that by the time the militaries are approaching them, or they are chasing them through this direction, before you know it, they will turn around and change a position that you'll hardly detect them. So this is just the type of difficulties I'm sure that is making them, or making people to think like the military is not doing anything. But coupled with the fact that at times the federal government is not giving them the demand from it to sustain the operation as it's supposed to be.
Major, we talk about non-kinetic and kinetic measures towards addressing the security challenges. Do you think this development sends a clear message that there is no room for negotiation anymore? It's a fight to the death between the Nigerian security forces and these bandits?
Yes, I think we have approached that level, unless if maybe there is some interest that government may likely want to go into bargain with them. But as it is for now, it is a point of no return. It is just fire for fire. Unless if maybe they have an interest by which the federal government will want to go into bargaining with them, maybe that is where they may decide that, okay, let us cease fire and let's see what are your demands, if we will be able to meet up with it. And from the government side, they may likely have their own demand. But I'm sure by now there is not something like that. If there is, I'm sure there wouldn't be need for the whole CNC and the State Minister of Defense and other commanders of the armed forces to leave Abuja and go to those areas for the purpose of this operation.
What do you think about the regional security concerns that we have in this part of the Sahel regarding how that situation is fueling the banditry that we've seen grow from strength to strength in northwest Nigeria, for instance? I mean, these are bandits with ties to other countries in the region. Do you worry that because of that we might be in it for quite some time?
Well, the way I'm saying it, that Nigeria and Nigeria have some issue, particularly to do with the border we shared with Niger Republic in particular. I'm sure through Niger they'll do their best, they'll do what they could to make sure that they protect their own territory, and that will be advantage to us, because there is the belief that most of these bandits are charting their route through Niger Republic and coming into Nigeria with all kinds of weapons they wish to come in. But with this issue between Nigeria and Niger, I'm sure the Niger will be doing its best, so the Nigerian troops will take this as an advantage for them to do all they could, because by the time these bandits will decide to go back, cross the border, I'm sure the troops from the other side will not allow it. So it's like they will now be forcing them to remain within the Nigerian territory, where if our troops will push, they'll go to the land that they can no longer cross to anywhere, and they'll get them at hand.
A lot of people have accused the federal government of virtue signaling when the district head in Gobi was killed in that gruesome manner, alongside many other people that have been killed subsequently. And all those victims of banditry, we saw that special deployment with the Minister of State in uniform alongside some of the military hierarchy to Sokoto State. But some say this should be an everyday affair. The intensity should be there week in, week out, so that people can actually feel that the government is doing everything that it can with the available resources to bring an end to it. Do you think it's a matter of scaling up those operations? Because we know that the Nigerian military has been stretched thin. We have well over 30 theaters of operation across the 36 states of the Federation, across the 6 geopolitical zones. So it's quite obvious. But do you think also, in terms of scale, that we have what it takes to live up to the expectations of what the people want and need?
Of course, we have what it takes to do what is expected of our military. Only that, as I have said earlier, the system is not allowing them to do it in the manner it's supposed to be in the military way. There are a lot of maybe reasons associated with the administration, particularly that when it involves civilians, sometimes before you get approval of how to do things or what you want to carry out operation, it will take some time. And when this thing happened now in Sokoto about the late Serkin Gobir of Sabon Birni, I think the government is aware that people are already losing hope on how it is taking the issue of security, particularly in the Northwest. So it decided that now that it happens, let them do something at least to manage that situation, to show people that they have not, the military and the government has not abandoned them. So that's what they have come out to play. And if they will continue by what they have shown, now people have believed, yes, if government want to tackle that situation, that insecurity issue, it has what it takes to do it. And only that in the previous time, it has not maybe shown so much concern or thinking that it will not come up to this level. But now that it has happened, people have been losing hope about how the government is handling it. They will do all they could to manage the situation, to show that they are on top, they are controlled, and they can do what is expected of them.
Major Shinko, thank you so much for your expert analysis on this developing issue. We thank you most kindly for joining us on Daily Politics tonight.
Thank you very much.
That is our conversation with Major Yahaya Shinko, retired, who has been providing us with insight with regards to the security development in northwest Nigeria, with banditry upending the lives and livelihood of people across Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, in the north central. It has been an ongoing conversation around how whatever it is that the government is doing through the Nigerian military, through the Nigerian police and all the other security forces has left much to be desired, in spite of some of the gains that have been recorded. And speaking about some of the gains that have been recorded this past week, the Nigerian military scored a big one with the killing of Halilu Sububu, who was ambushed alongside over 30 of his soldiers, and they were gunned down. And that is the biggest message that the Nigerian military has sent yet to the bandits operating in northwest Nigeria. I believe we have architect Ibrahim back on the line via phone to help us navigate some of these issues, especially from his perspective with regards to developments in Katsina. Architect, it's good to have you back. You might just want to continue your line of thought there regarding what you make of the security developments in your region, but more specifically in Katsina State.
Well, I'm visiting Katsina mostly in Abuja, but I understand the issue on a global level. I am going to talk about what the military has been achieving recently in the northwest area. The killing of one of the biggest bandits around, this Sububu, is a very clear message to the bandits that the end has come. And I can understand the escalation of pockets of banditry across the northwest as the last kick of a dying horse. These people are running helter-skelter, and on their way they are causing more mayhem. But very soon they will hit a rock. I believe the military are now doing what they should have done, much earlier, getting to the regions where we have the farmers really producing food for the nation, attacking the bandits right there, decimating them, and then moving on to other areas. That the Minister of State has come to the northwest precisely in Sokoto. We are now seeing very good results. And if the tempo is kept, all of this region will be secured, and then they can move to other regions. That way, Nigeria will be rid of all these, miscreants, causing a lot of havoc, especially on the part of the food system. The
architect, let's talk about food security, because that is a significant part of this conversation, and we do know for a fact that this is one of the regions that Nigeria depends on when it comes to crop production. You as a farmer, what can you tell me about the mood within the farming community? Because you're one of the hardest hit subsectors as a result of this insecurity. Does this renew your hope at all?
Yes, of course. We are very hopeful that things will get better. Our farmers will be able to go to their farms seamlessly and produce food that the 250 million people we have in the nation badly require. Our food system is endangered because of banditry more than any other thing. The insecurity pervading the nation is really a big threat to the food system. We are already grappling with how to feed ourselves, and then we are looking for how to get food security. And if we don't do, we don't take real decisive action against these bandits, it will not be possible to have food security in the nation. So we welcome this development, and we encourage the soldiers and all concerned to put all hands on deck to be sure that this becomes sustainable. Otherwise, you know, it will further impede the attainment of food security.
And in talking about Katsina, we were speaking earlier to our correspondent on the ground, Abdullahi, who has confirmed that areas like Faskari, Jibia, and all the other volatile areas have remained under attack, signposting that, you know, we still have a scaling issue. Even though there are boots on the ground, it is not enough to inspire confidence of these local communities who are mostly farmers, for instance, to go about their lives uninterrupted. Do you worry that the government is not scaling up some of these military operations big enough to make a significant difference across the entire region?
Well, I made mention of the last kick of a dying horse. You see, as the bandits are being, you know, attacked in different directions, they run helter-skelter all over the place, and they will cause more mayhem on their way. So the escalation of banditry now, you know, it's not as if it will not go away, but it's as a result of desperation on the part of the people, I mean the bandits running away. And, you know, on their path, they cause more mayhem. I come from Faskari, and there, you know, in the westward part of the city, I mean of the local government, you cannot even go to your farm. And there are hills all over the place, and there are hiding places for the bandits. I believe that those people coming from Zamfara and other environs there might want to come down to the hills in Faskari and hide there. So I will encourage the military to even pursue them across those hills, you know, kill them, decimate them, and then we will have peace. And the same thing is happening around the Jibia area, from Zurmi, from Shikafi and those areas. These people will come, including Basari and Safana and Dusema, and even Katsina city itself. You know, we can see an upsurge of these kidnappings and banditry, but I think it's the last kick of a dying horse. The military are after them, and we are hopeful that when this reaches a crescendo, a good number of them will be decimated. They are on the run. I mean, I'm sure you know that that braggart who was always talking, attacking people, putting levies on people and all that, he has kept quiet recently, which means he's hiding.
Right, okay.
The Sububu is saying he's his master, therefore Turji is on the run.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've heard of him in recent days.
Yeah.
So I believe that we should simply corner them, pursue them wherever they go to, get rid of them, and then we will have peace all over the place.
That is quite the expectation, Architect. I'm afraid we're going to have to anchor the conversation here for want of time. Architect Kabiru Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Of course, unfortunately, we couldn't have much time to take some of your thoughts because of the connectivity there, but thank you so much for dropping by and, of course, for giving us your take on this
ever-developing issue. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And this is where we anchor the conversation tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us on Daily Politics. Feel free, as always, to follow us across our social media platforms just to stay in touch. You can also take a look at our website, trusttv.com, where you can find this and many other content for your viewing pleasure. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the rest of the team, join us again next time live on Trust TV. Good evening.